addition to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Lauren Sanchez, Jeff Bezos, Julianne Hough, and country singer Lainey Wilson and Chris Hemsworth.
Jones was called an erratic screamer, and she completely lost it when Dwayne Johnson and Lauren Sanchez left.
Column called Jones an erratic screamer and reported on a client exodus that included Dwayne Johnson and Lauren Sanchez.
Blake Lively and Stephani Jones just rattled the Hollywood gossip chain so loudly that even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is rumored to be rolling his eyes and muttering, "What on earth did I sign up for?" From leaked texts to uninvited meltdown moments, it seems the entire industry is fixated on a brewing legal volcano about to blow. Apparently, Justin Baldoni has launched a bombshell lawsuit against Stephani Jones for leaking hush-hush details to Blake Lively in some weird chess move that's got everyone scrambling for cover. Cue The Rock, who, if the whispers are true, is seriously annoyed at how his name keeps popping up amid Stephani's alleged master plan. If you're craving drama, grab a front row seat. It's about to get spicy. Here's the situation in a nutshell. Justin Baldoni hires superstar PR expert Stephani Jones to fix any looming crises. Next thing he knows, rumors claim Stephani is handing over secret intel to Blake Lively, info that could upend Justin's entire image. What's in it for Stephani? Perhaps more clout, new A-list buddies, or maybe a gold star for most theatrical use of a non-disclosure agreement. Whatever the motive, folks say The Rock wants no part in this train wreck. After all, he's usually busy flexing muscles and flipping truck tires on Instagram, not flipping out over PR leaks in Hollywood, yet here we are. A meltdown that's roping in some of the biggest names in showbiz. Word on the street is, Justin Baldoni's last straw was when his carefully planned film promotion started turning into a twisted rumor fest. Suddenly, tabloids are printing half-cooked stories about Justin making questionable remarks, or butting heads with co-stars. All roads lead back to Stephani, who allegedly snagged her staffer's phone, rummaged for personal messages, and doled out insider info like samples at a grocery store. A few hours later, Blake Lively's team supposedly got wind of these private conversations. Cue total mayhem, hush-hush text messages become headline news, while Justin stands there blinking, possibly wondering if he's been living in an episode of a reality show he never signed up for. Naturally, The Rock is rumored to be absolutely ticked off. He doesn't appreciate his name surfacing in scandalous headlines that have nothing to do with, launching blockbuster movies or throwing epic cheat day pancake feasts. But Stephani used to tout him as one of her big clients. So, some suspect she's been name-dropping that relationship for an added sliver of credibility, like a PR jackpot. The Rock, however, might see it differently. Focus on your meltdown, Ms. Jones, and kindly leave my brand out of it. Or, so the grapevine suggests, we're still waiting to see if he'll cut ties or publicly smack down the drama with a witty Instagram post, perhaps featuring a raised eyebrow and the line, "I smell what the PR meltdown is cooking. Count me out." But let's rewind a bit. How did Justin Baldoni become the center of this swirling vortex? Picture a promising film project, big studio partnerships, and a bright star cast. The hype is real. Then, rumors of behind-the-scenes tension begin floating around. Stories about cast members who unfollowed Justin on social media, or so they say. That's never a good sign in celeb land. Enter Stephani Jones, who apparently jumps into the fray, positioning herself as the crisis manager who can put out the fires. Next thing anyone knows, the fires are bigger than ever, and they're suspiciously shaped like unauthorized phone grabs and top-secret data leaks. It's like calling the fire department only to watch them roast marshmallows in your living room. Not that Stephani is new to big names. She's allegedly worked with several A-list types, The Rock included, and had a reputation for brass-knuckle tactics. Who doesn't love a good tough cookie in the PR world? Except when that toughness allegedly extends to rummaging through staffers' phones for juicy tidbits. Tidbits she might feed to an actress's publicist in exchange for star-studded favor. The meltdown itself might be comedic if it weren't so real for the people involved, especially Justin, who's now hauling Stephani to court, screaming breach of confidentiality at the top of his legal lungs. Even more intriguing is how quickly the meltdown hopped from hush-hush PR chatter to a full-blown fiasco. Some suspect Stephani, frustrated that Justin and his team didn't treat her with the same reverence as, say, bigger fish like The Rock, decided to cozy up to Blake Lively. That's the talk. She chose alliances that supposedly gave her a more glamorous seat at the table. After all, if you're chasing big-time connections and you see an opportunity to sabotage a lesser client, at least in your mind, maybe you think it's worth the risk. That's the rumor at least. But let's be honest, it's never worth the risk if you're caught. And from the sound of Justin's lawsuit, Stephani is in serious hot water. According to allegations, there was a confidentiality clause that Stephani basically chucked out the window. She's accused of scanning private messages, packaging them like party favors, and handing them off to her chosen VIPs. One of those VIPs, apparently, was Blake Lively, who, ironically, is also at odds with Justin, so you can see how this all ties together into a single, swirling soap opera. Justin's meltdown reaction? He's lawyering up big time, claiming he has all sorts of documentation that Stephani was orchestrating a smear campaign against him, presumably to shield her own missteps or to ingratiate herself with bigger Hollywood names. The hush-hush chatter around Tinseltown is that The Rock, never one to mince words, is absolutely fuming about the insinuation that he might be tangled up in shady tactics. Typically, The Rock is about as squeaky clean as an action star can get. The last thing he wants is an image marred by a PR meltdown that isn't even his fiasco. So if you hear a suspicious rumbling on the horizon, it may just be him giving a subtle "enough already" to Stephani's camp. Meanwhile, Blake Lively remains fairly quiet. But rumor has it she's not exactly sorry about the intel she scored from Stephani. The chatter is that she used the information to launch some salvos of her own, like negative stories that painted Justin as a problem on set, or a thorn in the side of the entire production. As for Justin, he's been forced to spend more time defending himself in the court of public opinion than promoting his film. If anything, it's a masterclass in how quickly PR drama can overshadow actual work in Hollywood. Along the way, we have cameo appearances by folks who specialize in crisis management. Actual crisis management, that is, not the Meltdown brand. One of them allegedly tried to keep the peace, only to find that Stephani was actively feeding ammunition to the enemy. It's like trying to put out a fire while your partner stands off to the side, gleefully pouring lighter fluid into the flames. And that's where The Rock's frustration might come into play. If Stephani leveraged his name or relationships for her own advantage, and if it's proven she sowed chaos in doing so, he might deliver a verbal body slam so epic it'll echo in Hollywood for years. The suit also mentions that Justin and his partners forked over significant money to keep their brand squeaky clean. They never imagined the real problem was in their own backyard, someone they'd hired to shield them from negative press. This might feel like a comedic farce if it weren't so detrimental to careers, reputations, and maybe future bank accounts. Hollywood runs on trust and illusions. Once that trust is shattered, especially in the realm of confidentiality, people scatter faster than paparazzi after a free buffet. So how's the meltdown going to end? Possibly in a high-stakes legal tussle where Stephani Jones tries to prove she was doing exactly what the contract allowed, or that she was forced to reveal info by some phantom subpoena. But Justin's lawsuit claims that's pure nonsense. There was no subpoena, or so the official documents allege. If a judge finds that she indeed broke her contract, guess who's going to be writing one enormous check? Meanwhile, The Rock's fans remain on standby, half expecting him to weigh in with some comedic yet pointed remark. "I don't care what Stephani's cooking, I'm not tasting it." A cinematic mic drop, if you will. For her part, Stephani might attempt to spin a heroic narrative, that she was simply acting in the best interest of her client, or that all this is a misunderstanding. But it's tough to wave the heroic flag when you're accused of rummaging through an employee's phone and delivering those contents to an adversary of your own client. Not exactly the best PR look, right? The harsh truth is that if the courts rule against her, she may find her star-studded clientele quietly disappearing like ghosts after a bad party. In a business built on hush-hush secrets, you can't stay afloat if folks suspect you'll peddle confidential info to the highest bidder or the flashiest star. And what about Blake Lively? Well, Hollywood watchers are waiting to see if she'll double down on the drama, distance herself with a polite "who, me" wave, or quietly watch from the sidelines while this meltdown devours Stephani. Some say Blake's initial involvement was pragmatic. She might have wanted some inside dirt on Justin to sidestep him during the film. Others suspect she's in deeper. Regardless, if it's proven she used ill-gotten info, the PR blowback could be scorching. For now, she's apparently letting Stephani take center stage in the meltdown spotlight. The entire fiasco is also overshadowing. A crucial question: what does this do to the actual film that Justin was working on? Good or bad, the press has turned away from praising or critiquing any cinematic magic, focusing instead on who double-crossed whom in a swirling brew of sabotage. Movie execs hate that. They like controversies that revolve around box office, numbers, or an actor's comedic cameo, not lawsuits over phone-snatching PR catastrophes. It's possible that deals or partnerships linked to Justin or Wayfair Studios might get shaky as a result. After all, brand reps love stability. Nothing says unstable like a savage meltdown in the tabloids, with star names possibly implicated in the next wave of revelations. What is The Rock's next move, you ask? Possibly a well-timed social post featuring him bench-pressing a boulder labeled Stephani's drama, followed by a wink that implies he's done dealing with her nonsense. Realistically, though, he might let the courts handle it, stepping in only if someone tries to drag him deeper into the fray. To date, he hasn't confirmed or denied anything, leaving fans to guess if this quiet approach is merely him simmering until the perfect moment to show the world that when he says know your role, he means it. For Hollywood watchers, the best show in town right now might not be in theaters. It's the behind-the-scenes meltdown unspooling in real time. Some folks are calling it a cautionary tale. Don't bite the hand that feeds your monthly retainer, especially if you're a PR rep entrusted with private details. Others are just passing the popcorn, waiting for the next tabloid morsel or a slip-up in court that reveals a more sinister angle. After all, Tinseltown thrives on twists and turns, but it seldom forgives the double-crosser who was supposed to protect their secrets. The final chapter is still up in the air. If Justin's lawyers present a solid case, we might see Stephani, Jones shell out a massive settlement, or face a humiliating legal defeat that tarnishes her brand beyond repair. And if The Rock is sufficiently annoyed, he might unofficially blackball her from major Hollywood circles. That might be a rumor, but after the swirl of tales about phone grabs, hush-hush text passes, and betrayal, nothing sounds too far-fetched anymore. In the meantime, you can bet your last dollar that every aspiring celeb will triple-check their confidentiality clauses and glance nervously at their PR reps. Is that phone truly locked down? Is that NDA ironclad? Because if there's one lesson from this fiasco, it's that you never know who's rummaging through your phone records and turning them into a power play. Stephani Jones clearly hasn't read the manual on how to bury your tracks while pulling a Hollywood hustle. If these allegations are true, she left footprints the size of The Rock's biceps all over the place. So stay tuned, because you can practically smell the next twist approaching. New allegations, more stewing fury from The Rock, or a cunning attempt by Stephani to spin her meltdown as a grand misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is probably sipping tea, reviewing evidence with his legal team, and possibly daydreaming about a future where he can release a movie without chaos swirling around him like a cartoon thundercloud. One thing's certain, the meltdown is real, it's messy, and it's a front-row seat to how drastically Hollywood feuds can explode. Let's see which side triumphs in this high-stakes showdown, and if The Rock decides to drop the people's elbow on it all. Stay alert, because in Tinseltown, anything can happen, and apparently, it usually does.